What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 13, our Ethan Finley episode, which is appropriate because Ethan Finley, our number 13 episode, we're welcoming back my good buddy, on record as my best friend. It's Ian Michaud, a.k.a. Le James Sebastian Drew E.C. back from the East Coast. Austin FC still playing.
Yes.
I don't know if we could have asked for much more. How are you feeling?
Feels great to be back. So excited to have gotten the win so that I may attend a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Peter and Catherine. A wedding / music festival / week-long event.
What music festival did you guys go to?
What's that?
What music festival did you guys go to?
Oh, we went to it was probably the most exclusive music festival of all time. It was me yelling at the wedding DJ to play Grego.
Did he oblige?
No, the wedding would have stopped 100%.
Not the vibe?
No. It's that's why it's so exclusive. Nobody gets to attend.
Well, obviously we went live. We went on the live stream earlier this week. Our good buddies Brian and Mike hopped on with me. We had some fun there. The Dallas Minnesota game. Obviously, Dallas came out on top there. That was going on while we were live, and we recapped with video the win over RSL. But Ian, since you and I, this is the first time we have talked since you came back. I know your viewing experience was maybe not ideal for the full 120 minutes plus PKs, but I think you saw the important moments, or at least the fun ones, and snuck in some in-stadium FaceTimes with Jose and I, which I think all I said, probably I was just yelling, I think, probably not. It's not words, but how was your experience watching on the East Coast? Because again, the team with me on the East Coast, not as great. We have that one loss, but still undefeated with you on the East Coast. So
undefeated? That's not right, is it?
We haven't taken a loss. We tied.
We have
not taken a loss.
That's a nice little caveat of footy, right? Yeah. You can say you haven't taken a loss.
Yeah.
It was interesting. The first half, I was just illegally streaming it with a VPN through my phone, exposing all of my data to the hackers and whatnot, but for good cause.
It's valuable data.
Yeah, there's money places. It was all right. You know, the stream wasn't great, but I got to check the first half live, and then the second half, I didn't have as much luck streaming the game. So for the first 25 minutes of the second half, I was just watching ESPN Gamecast, which was just really bad. Yeah. It's slow. It's oftentimes wrong. I don't know. So that wasn't that great. And then I got a FaceTime call from a friend. We won't say his name on air, but a friend called me and he had the game on, and I got to watch through FaceTime and yell from the back seat of a Subaru like I was a young child who just went to soccer camp and was being driven home. Their favorite team played in the playoffs.
Well, I will say, you know, I could be nice and say you didn't miss much, but you missed, I think, my favorite experience at Q2 so far.
Holy shit. Yeah. Have you ever been to a playoff game for a team that you actively root for? I'd imagine, right? You've probably been to a San Antonio
A lot
game.
of Spurs games. Yeah. I went to the only finals game I think I've ever been to was in the 99 season. So I was super young. I remember, that was back in the Alamo Dome. We were sitting kind of up under the balcony for that one. And plenty of playoff games along the way, but man, I just don't think they measure up at this point. And it's recency bias. It's my home team bias. Yeah. But there's not a live band playing. There's not a whole stadium chanting. There's not continuous action for 2 hours with a little beer break in the middle. Like, it's just it's a different vibe. And you know, I think the next Spurs playoff game I go to, maybe I'll swing back, or at least maybe like equal in terms of like the energy level or the hype, the experience. But there's nothing like it in my mind right now. And I, you know, obviously we're gonna play here this coming Sunday, and I think it's gonna be topped, and I think that's guaranteed given the opponent.
For sure. For sure. Now, I have never been to a playoff game for a team that I have actively been rooting for.
Oh, okay. So this
obviously LeBron fan, Philadelphia Eagles fan growing up.
Yeah.
No baseball affiliate. I liked the Expos for a while there for Vladimir Guerrero. But yeah, I've never been to a playoff game for a team that I am an active fan for. So I'm super excited. And yeah, I missed a hell of a game. Yeah. But we were screaming in that Subaru, I tell you what.
I think you said you converted some of our buddies up there. Maybe we didn't even really get to watch the game, but by your screaming and excitement, got them into it. So
I have definitely grown the legend.
There you go. And that's, you know, that's what we all try to do.
What can you do for your team? Ask not what your team can do for you.
Well, I know that the FC Dallas fans are asking our team to do a lot for them, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. What did you think about, just before we totally move on from this game, because again, we didn't get to experience it together. So just a little bit more discussion. Obviously the big change in the lineup was Valencia for Danny Pereira. What did you think about that? Obviously, you know, with your limited viewing ability for part of that game, what you did get to take in either live or then maybe watching a replay or highlights, what'd you feel, or how did you feel about Valencia being in there for Danny?
I remember one distinct play, and I feel like it was in the first half, and he took a shot from outside the 18, and it wasn't like a great strike, but we had been pretty stagnant up until that point, and I was kind of mad at first, and I was like, why did you shoot that? Who was that?
Yeah.
And then I saw it was Valencia, and I was like, okay, all right. And I started to feel a little better about it. And I was like, all right, well, we've been asking for that. And it went straight to the keeper. It wasn't a great strike, but I was like, okay, we have been asking for that because, again, we have been viewing this entire escapade, entire season as not necessarily results-based, but what are we doing well, you know, that can make us better in the long run. And we've wanted some shots from outside the 18 to suck the defense up a little bit, maybe get some more runs. So I was excited to see him start. I was shocked, to be honest. I mean, all season we've been talking about how Wolf wants to stick to the guys he knows and trusts, and that means that Johan must have earned his trust.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see him again. The toughness factor, I didn't get to see as much of the entire match as I obviously would have liked.
Of course.
But I did see, 38 shots. I think I asked you.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Is that some sort of record for the MLS? I got into an argument with somebody who was upset about Wolf not making the proper adjustments. And I was like, bro, we got 38 shots off. We hit inside of the post multiple times. There's only so much the man can do.
Yeah.
We can't, Magneto the ball into the net. So after I got that off my chest, I had a nice little Reddit conversation with that RSL fan who said he was coming to the game against us. And we had a good time there. But I just can't get over how fantastic it must have been in the stadium to be there. I keep seeing all these videos, these clips from live action, and it looked awesome.
Man, the feeling for me, certainly, as I guarantee you, there were tears welling up in my eyes. I think at multiple points of that game, but certainly like when Rigoni won the PK and then Driussi buries it, just like the cheer that was also just relief in the stadium.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was 3 minutes till the game ended, and we've been up a man for 35 and obviously had so many shots. Playing an extra 30 minutes helps those stats to be sure. But Yeah, the atmosphere was incredible. I think it topped LAFC just because it was essentially, and like every game is from here on out, it's a final, because if you don't win, you go home or you stay home.
Yes. Undefeated in playoffs in franchise history.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, baby.
And on the Wolf bit, I think it's fair to criticize Valencia starting over Danny, because, like I said Monday with Mike and Brian, that you probably should play the guys that got you here. But I also, and I'll credit the Moon Tower Soccer guys, and Chris Wilhausen was on as well this week. I just got to catch up on their pod this morning. I think they made a good point that Valencia was in there for a different game script than what played out. I thought that was a really solid point, and made a lot of sense to me. And again, we've seen a lot of good things in the last 2 games from Johan Valencia, things that we expected from him when we signed him. I think, again, all of us assumed he would be the starter there in the defensive midfield. So then the subs at halftime, right? We had a triple sub at halftime, which I hardly remember anybody coming off at halftime this entire season, much less 3 guys. But I think it paid dividends, right? Like,
I agree.
Getting Rigoni in there, and of course people have been on his ass about the missed header and the poke that went over the bar, which I think was just a much tougher play than people are giving credit for, with the defender right there in front of him and him sprinting in. I actually thought he should have converted the header. I thought that was an easier play. Maybe I'm just being foolish, but I thought that was a good sub. Again, we are in a good spot, I think, with having Finley and Rigoni interchangeable there and being able to bring that juice off the bench, whichever one of them it is. And then obviously bringing on Danny, I think, helped a good bit. And then I thought the best sub was probably Zan Kolmanic, because you look at the shots number, I believe it was 60 crosses that we whipped in. I think that actually might have been a record. And if you need to whip crosses in from that left side, he is the guy.
Absolutely.
I thought Wolf did fine, especially for his first playoff game as a head coach. The adjustments came, and you could call it ugly, you could call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, these guys are still playing. So I give them credit for that.
For sure.
So going forward, I mean, we are, as we sit here recording on Thursday night, we are just under 72 hours until kickoff at Q2 against FC Dallas. It will be the 6th meeting between these two. Obviously, last season, things did not go well against this FC Dallas team. Started out with the 2-0 loss on the road, then that 5-3 defeat at Q2. Which, that game was actually pretty exciting by the end, because it was 5-1, I think, at the half, and Austin pulled 2 back fairly early in the second half. Still came up short, obviously, and then the 2-1 loss in that third meeting last year, can't capitalize. Diego Fagundes had a phenomenal goal from the left side, just outside the box in that game, and then two goals coming back from Dallas. So they swept us last year. Then this season, both draws. Obviously, the 2-2 draw at home. That's actually what our Twitter profile picture, the picture that's on the podcast every time, is from that match. And that's right. That's the screenshot from a random YouTube video after the game the tying goal in that 2-2 match. We found that video, right, and they turn the camera around, and you see Brian at first throwing his water, and then you see me jumping up onto my seat in the north end, pumping my fists, and you're sitting there flipping off the Dallas fans. So
I had a hand spasm.
Oh yeah, sure.
My hand tightened up. I was dehydrated. It wasn't a middle finger.
Yeah, sure. That's what we'll go with. Then on the road, the 1-1 draw that clinched Copa Tejas for us, and then obviously the I won't say controversy because it's not, but they had to celebrate in the parking lot. And I think I see a lot of Austin fans still mentioning that like it was Dallas's decision, but apparently that was a Copa Tejas decision. I don't know if that's just between the 3 MLS teams or the entirety of Copa Tejas, right? Because those USL teams are included in the actual Copa Tejas like shield. It's different from the one shared between the 3 MLS teams. So I don't know which, committee decided that, but it was decided before the game, and it wasn't solely a Dallas decision to make that celebration happen in the parking lot. And so before we get into any, lineups, predictions, whatever, let's talk about
this is going to be
what we alluded to earlier. This I will call a controversy. El Matador, which I believe is the preeminent FC Dallas supporters group, tweeted, and I think I don't know if this was Wednesday morning or Tuesday night that they tweeted, but it's been a while now, at least in terms of Twitter time. They tweeted, "We've been told that Austin FC will not allow instruments in the away section for Sunday's game. MLS does not prohibit instruments for playoff games. This is Austin's decision. We call on supporters groups to condemn this decision for the good of supporters culture league-wide." So I'll toss it to you, Ian. I think there's a lot of different points that I want to get off my chest about this whole thing. So let's kind of go through it. What was your reaction, I guess, the first time you saw that? I assume because you are on Reddit and not on Twitter that is where you first saw this.
That is where I first saw it. I am active on Reddit. I don't know. Is there a committee? There's a Copa Tejas committee? Is it just the GM?
This is not Copa Tejas.
Is fucking Matthew McConaughey like representing us in some shadow meetings with like Dirk? Like what's happening? So I mean, I saw the Matador, and they, obviously I would be upset about that if they said that. But if it had already been agreed to, and it was established, then I don't think there's anything to be upset about.
Well, I think this comes as a surprise to the Dallas supporter group because they're allowed. Because they're. What's that? All 12
of them?
I'm gonna give them credit. They'll bring 16 people.
Good.
Okay, so going back to Copa Tejas decisions, that's the agreement between the 3 clubs for those matches, that the clubs can bring instruments just to those matches. Opposing supporters groups and supporter sections, when they come to Q2, if you're not one of those other Texas teams, they don't allow them to bring instruments.
Okay.
And what I read was that the Austin FC front office made the decision at the beginning of the playoffs that for any home matches, there would not be instruments. It doesn't matter who we play. And then if we ended up hosting the final, then that decision is actually out of Austin's hands because the MLS would control the access for those other supporters groups. I have thoughts I think that would count as like both sides here. I don't think there's like one answer, but I think when it comes to Austin FC, the front office, that is, making the decision, any club, I think, is justified in creating the best environment that they can for their home fans. Mm-hmm. I don't think Austin necessarily has to do that because I think we already have a top 3 game environment, regardless of how many instruments another team brings. But like,
that's house money, though.
Sure,
it's a home field advantage for a reason,
right? And I think that's been the response from a lot of Austin fans is if you guys wanted to bring instruments, win more and have the home field advantage.
I mean, to me, it's
a little childish.
But. Yeah, and like I've heard the argument about celebrating in the parking lot, and it's like, well, we're just getting down to some like whataboutism shit at that point,
right?
And like they're trying to keep it safe, first of all.
Yes,
that's priority 1, safety, obviously. But I mean, if it was agreed upon beforehand,
well, I don't think it was. I think this is Austin FC. They said before the play, Austin FC before the playoffs decided that no opponents at least until the final, because again, the final is controlled by the MLS, like what the different groups can bring in. So if we ended up hosting,
have other teams in the playoffs been allowing instruments from opposing teams?
To be honest, not that I've seen. I know that the other night in the Dallas Minnesota match, there was somebody blowing a fucking vuvuzela, and it was extremely annoying.
I did see that, and that sucks. And I don't know why the people who were sitting around that person didn't smash the thing. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
At some point, you just have an honest responsibility.
Yeah.
If you're sitting next to somebody who blows a vuvuzela or somebody who has their car going, you got to pull up on that person and be like, hey, man, you suck.
Yeah.
Stop doing it. Holy smokes. Yeah. Let's see how many people they bring then. If it's that big of a deal.
I mean, I think they would certainly fill out whatever ticket allotment was given to them. And that was another part of this. Is before the instrument thing, I saw them bitching about the ticket allotment, which I don't think, and I'm very much in favor of this. I don't think that there is a league standard on that. And if there is, I'm mistaken. Somebody please reach out and tell me. But I don't think there's like this standard where it's like you have to give 500 tickets or 250 tickets or whatever it is. I think it's probably, it may be like this already. And I think this is how I would do it if I was in charge. Thankfully, I'm not. But I think it would be a percentage of your stadium capacity, like 1%, 1.5%, whatever. And that would be 200, 300 tickets at Q2, which I think is what they give to these visiting supporter groups. So I think that number was lower. I think it was like 150 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But that also included the tickets that the FC Dallas players were giving to their friends and family.
Okay.
So it's not really 150 tickets. But obviously those are two different things. I think there should be some sort of league mandated percentage or number, because again, every stadium is different, and not every stadium is full. Even in the playoffs, you can look at fucking Dallas.
For sure. And this is a unique situation. We have 2 derby matches here.
Yeah.
On the Western Conference side. Obviously, there's more Dallas fans coming to an Austin home playoff game than there would be Portland or Real Salt Lake
last week. Yeah,
they
had like 15 people.
Yeah. So it's hard, and I think that makes sense to have some sort of percentage number available, and then if the seats don't sell out, then they're fair game.
Yeah.
But obviously we're selling out.
Yeah, and like, dude, how much of the stadium is season ticket holders? 90%? It's a lot. I don't know if it's that high, but it's a lot, right? And nobody's opting out. Whether you're going to the game or not, people are flipping those tickets.
You're either in a wedding in Philadelphia or you're at the Austin FC game.
And so, yeah, it's again, it's different for every club, every stadium, at least in MLS, right? And I think, but that's where that standardized percentage or number, I think, should be established, and standardized procedure on can opposing fans bring in instruments.
For sure.
Because I don't think it shouldn't be a guessing game for other teams, because I don't think I want that for our supporters. And I know our supporters have dealt with that other places as well.
I agree. And I think that from the start, we've been very pro-league, pro-MLS, pro-growth. And I understand these supporter sections are the lifeblood of these teams.
Yes.
And there needs to be something established that team can just point to and say, well, this is what it is.
Yeah.
It's 1% of the stadium capacity. It's 2% of the stadium capacity. No instruments.
Every time.
Period.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It shouldn't be like this nebulous thing where it's like Austin FC is unilaterally being like, no.
Right.
You can't bring it. So, yeah, we got to grow. We got to establish something there.
Yeah.
But I mean, who somebody's going to be like, hey, I'm not coming because I can't bring my fucking oboe. Like, what? I don't travel without my clarinet. Like, come on.
Well, so, and again, this is where I think I'm straddling both sides of the fence, but I think both sides, so to speak, have very valid points and arguments. Like, I think, and again, we are in that north end where we can hear
Yeah.
When Houston and Dallas are there, we hear those guys. And credit to the fans that do travel, even though I know there's some fucking lunatics in both of those supporters groups. It makes the game day experience better.
I agree.
And it gives us the option to turn and look and have muscle spasms towards those supporters groups when we're doing well.
I promise no muscle spasms this week.
No, don't make that promise. You're going to break it. I can tell you from the number of muscle spasms I had last game.
Oh God.
And man, and Damon was into it, and
oh
Dave,
my God,
bro, you missed Dave's. Dave had a green sequined jacket on.
Yeah, he looked like Draymond.
I think I saw somebody quote tweet that Draymond video and say, "This is how I'm walking into Q2 next week." That's how we should all walk into Q2 next week.
I do have a Lucha Libre mask that I've wanted to break out for some.
You probably should. I wore the Sambas last week and we won, so I told you my mental gymnastics were going to pay off.
Then I can have anonymous hand spasms.
There you go.
Because I don't stick out in the crowd.
The 6'4" Viking looking guy. Just you.
It was that 6'4" Viking dude with a neck tattoo.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think both of us agree that we enjoy those games. It adds to our experience. I think it adds to the rest of the stadium's experience, but not everybody likes that. And I definitely feel for the people. And I think that complaints coming from people sitting around that visitor section up in the balcony and also potentially in the north end who get the brunt of that music from the teams that do get to bring their instruments, it does drown out the game day environment that we hear very clearly when teams who don't have instruments are there. But I also I just think that that's just part of it. So I very much sympathize with people who would be complaining about that. But it is what it is, right?
Are those season ticket holders up there?
Well, I think in front of them there are.
You think so?
I think there's season ticket holder seats in every section. I think.
It's tough. The best laid plans of mice and men, there's no perfect answer here. I would be fucking pissed if I'm sitting behind one Dallas supporter with a vuvuzela just burn to my I would be furious.
Right.
But we have to allow their supporters to be there. I'm in the same boat. Let's be Switzerland on this one, baby. Sure. We're Switzerland here. Well,
and then I want to go in just a little bit on some of these fucking Dallas fans and what they're suggesting.
This is anti-Switzerland right now.
I mean, I can't stay Swiss for that long, dude. I just it's hilarious to me that somebody would call on Austin season ticket holders to call their ticket reps to advocate for Dallas fans bringing their instruments and yo, fuck off with that. I'm going to waste time out of my day. How about you guys continue your little crusade? We will continue to advocate for all teams to be able to bring in their stuff to our stadium and add to that environment. And for I saw somebody who, I think is maybe one of those season ticket holders that we were talking about that sits very close in proximity to that visitor section and doesn't necessarily like that.
Understandable.
It's why those people didn't, if you bought a season ticket away from the supporter section, some people bought them because they don't want to be near how awesome ours is and how loud it is all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I understand that, but then I saw some Dallas fans coming back saying, well, if you don't want you don't want to hear us, then your supporters should play louder. And that's just ridiculous because our supporter section is 100 times louder, but that doesn't help the people that are sitting right in front of you. So sure. You're just being a dick.
That's not how sound works.
I mean, but and this isn't just Dallas fans. Most people don't understand how sound works or how most of the world works. So, I guess it's just par for the course on the bathroom wall that is Twitter.
There isn't a great solution for it. I don't know.
Right. But I think ultimately the solution is you got to win more games.
Yes.
Because if you're the home team, you can do whatever you want.
Word. We can do, yeah, dude. I mean, bro, if we're gonna call the fucking season ticket reps, we're gonna be like, hey, why didn't we get autographs at the fucking meet and greet when Kako got 48 and we only had 33 players? How did that happen? We got 32 players. Kako got 48 autographs. That's what we'll talk about. No, yeah, we're gonna advocate for Dallas fans to get vuvuzelas into Q2. Come on.
Well, and I don't think we should single out our boy Kako, who obviously I don't does not know who we are, but
those are
we're well, and so and if you're going to say that, then I'll say this to everybody, and this includes Brian and Mike. And those are two guys that I can count on to listen to this. Not cool cutting the lines when we were at the season ticket holder event, because we tried to obey the rules, and clearly that was foolish. If we really wanted those signatures, stood in line for over 2 hours, couldn't get up to Sebastian Driussi.
We let the children go.
We did let the children go, and that was to our detriment. We would have gotten up there if we didn't let every child cut in front of us.
We could have beat them up. We could have won that.
We could have punted those kids and gotten in there, taken pictures. Anyways, I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about on this is, I think the general supporters group attitude towards these away supporter sections. And again, I agree. Like I agree. I think the supporters are the lifeblood, especially of the MLS, right? You have that for most clubs, small groups of fans that are so focused on their clubs and love their clubs and dedicate so much of their time, volunteer their time and money a lot of the times to support their clubs and give their best for the team. But we also have to understand the country we're in and the way professional sports and stadiums conduct themselves in this country. Soccer is the only place that you will have a designated away supporter section in professional sports. That's amateur stuff. That's high school football. That's college football, college basketball. That's not a professional sports thing. So I think it's fine. And you should. I encourage people to continue to push for the standardization of, if that's not a word, again, the things that we were talking about, right? Making it clear cut and well understood across the board that this is what away supporters can expect at every stadium. Again, based on percentage, whatever. Yeah. But until then, we can't say that, this is how it should be, because that's not how it is in the United States of America in professional sports. That's just not how it is. So I guess that was a point that just came to me through all of this, that people should not, just because you're used to, maybe you come from another country and you grew up and soccer was and still is your main sport, or you came from across the pond, right? Or you're just an EPL, a La Liga fan, or whatever. And this is how soccer is played. Obviously, soccer is the global game. So I'm not saying that the way the United States, the MLS, does it is the right way, but we just have to understand that change doesn't happen overnight. And I think some people really think that it should. For better or worse, there's just so many factors in our capitalist society and how these professional sports work that stand in the way of what the ultimate goals of supporters groups across the country are. And I think we have to have patience with that and not scream and yell every time that this comes up, because I don't think we get as far with the owners, with the front offices, as we do trying to continue to work with them and take what we can little by little, right? The concessions that they will make.
I totally agree. And that's a great point. And I did not think about it from that standpoint. And that has been, every time I talk to somebody about how much I enjoy going to these matches, I say, it's like nothing I've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
There's a band.
People don't believe us, right? They don't believe
there's a band. People are fucking letting off smoke flares.
Yeah.
We're singing, we're chanting. It's like nothing I've ever done before. And that's why it's been so addicting and so fun. And of course, there's going to be, lapses, and we have to catch up on some level. But at some point, this is what it's going to be here.
Right. At least for this year.
Exactly. And I think, like you said, you rounded that out very well, where you just said that, we have to have some sort of standardization, if that's a word, that we can look to and point to and say, look, man, this is how we do it. This isn't Portugal. Like it is what it is. And we're going to have a good time and it's going to be fun. And it's like, we don't have to cosplay as like fucking EPL fans. Like, come on.
Right. We have our own brand.
Yeah. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. Yeah. So great point. Well said.
Well, and standardization sounded a lot better when you said it. So it is a word.
I said it the difference was I said it with confidence, and I was going to try to say to you, if you say it with confidence,
that helps a lot.
It's believable.
Checking in on Philly and FC Cincinnati. 0-0 at halftime. Possession essentially even. 7 shots for Philly, 3 on target, 5 shots for bonus team Cincy, 2 on target. So I'm going to definitely turn that on once we get done here, but let's go ahead and finish the preview for this Sunday's match. As always, I will throw it to you. Lineup changes, lineup desires. What do you think Wolf runs out in the 11 on Sunday?
Man, Wolf really threw me for a spin when I saw Valencia in there. I feel like he probably listens to the pod.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been hearing me talk about Johan so much. Look, I think before the match, you brought up the Finley over Rigoni point, and I wasn't all for it, but I do think that is the right move right now. So I want to see Finley get the start. I'm not going to be upset with either Valencia or Danny there. It's a good problem to have, just like the Rigoni Finley problem. It's not a problem. It's a good situation to have.
It's a blessing compared to last year.
We have like overnight depth, like overnight oats, but like now we have players. And Seba has just been a man on a mission.
Yeah. Just
watching this dude, it's just been so
he could have had 6 goals the other night.
It's been so fun. He is just spectacular. But not to get lost in that. I think we will see the same starting lineup that was the first game. And this is the year of firsts.
You think Valencia starts again?
I do. Right? Like we won. I don't know.
Right.
Like you said, it's win or go home. It's do or die. We advanced. It is what it is. We took 38 shots. We won.
Sure.
And I don't think that Valencia had. From the first half that I saw, Cascante losing his man again.
Yeah, it was almost like he was marking him first, but then I give Cordova credit. He kind of looped around both center backs there.
Yeah. And then just seeing that, like he was killing us. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
He looked spectacular, but not to get off track there. I do think we'll see the same starting lineup.
The only place I'll differ, I do think Danny gets back in there. But I wouldn't put it. I think we could absolutely. I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if Valencia does start again. I just think with the way, and again, it's not like I'm sitting here breaking down FC Dallas film, but from what I can recall, they've given us some trouble in the past with the high press. Obviously, teams that do that, I think the one that stands out the most from this season was New York Red Bulls and how they just blitzed the shit out of us and got up 4-1 in that match. And Dallas is certainly not that aggressive. But I think Danny and his ability to break lines and kind of make a run by himself down the field when he does take that opportunity, because teams do give him space fairly frequently. I think he's just maybe a better option against this Dallas defense with their athletic, high press there. But I think you made good points, and it's the point you've been making for a couple weeks now, is that Valencia has been showing a lot of good things and really solidifying defensively that position. And again, like the handball, I don't think I said it on Monday, unless he can make his arm vanish, there's nothing he can do. So I think, maybe that's where we'll see an hour before the match on Sunday which one of us is right at the 6 there. And I think Finley is 45 minutes, empty the tank.
Yep,
right.
Let it go.
Pressure their back line with runs and just make them sweat, tire their legs out, and then you bring on the guy with probably the 2B at worst, I would say, in terms of raw talent on our team. At least in the attacking third. I think we're going to see a lot of the same in terms of the substitution patterns. I would not be surprised to see GT come on again at half. Rigoni come on again at half. And so, God, I can't remember who pointed this out on Twitter, so I apologize, but I think it was Adrian Healy, actually, who said, Austin 38 shots. The only 2 players who touched the pitch that did not record a shot were Maxi and Musa.
Oh, wow.
Which is wild, right? I think not much else to do here besides give our score prediction. So I'll ask you, how much is Austin FC winning by?
We got a few more things to do.
Okay.
We got to talk about McConaughey and Wrexham.
Oh, okay,
I just finished the Wrexham series.
Okay, nice. I have 3 episodes to go, so don't spoil the ending. I love that show.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah. And somebody on Twitter today said, and I do forget who this was, but I retweeted it from the account, so I guess I could go look in a minute. Netflix, give the keys to a series to our production team and watch MLS explode.
Oh, shit.
That's a fantastic idea. So
it's such a
anyway, sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good. It's such a great show. And then there's been that obviously there's some they're A-list movie stars. They're in a very select group of human beings. They all know each other. Yeah. So give me Matt. Did he hinted at it, right?
I believe that was in the decision day match against Colorado when he was on the broadcast with Healy and Lahoud. I believe that's what he teased, said he had been in contact with Ryan Reynolds about doing a thing. Didn't indicate what it would be, whether it would be in Wales or in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Wrexham come over here and play a friendly at Q2. Because
awesome.
You're gonna pack the house for that just because of people who see that show.
Exactly.
Maybe not even Austin FC.
Translate the other way.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing at the race course, it's not like,
you send
Austin FC's coming in.
Yeah. Well, and shit, man. I mean, I've never been to Europe, but that would, I think that might make me take the first trip. How cool would that be to go over there?
It'd be amazing.
But I just think that, there's more Austin FC fans that can attend a game. There's more money to be had over here, probably, right?
Yeah.
And it would be weird because the show makes those guys so likable, right? The players and the manager, etc. And to be able to do I would want to do the Super Paul Mullen chant. You know what I mean?
Every time I'm like, man, we need a fucking Seba chant.
Yes, we need more player specific chants, to be sure.
We do need more player specific chants.
Another thing that somebody pointed out, and this was 2 weeks ago when people were first talking about it, was that Austin FC would most likely destroy that team.
Really?
Yeah, and on the surface, I had the same reaction. But if you think about where they are, right, they're in the 5th league in England. I was talking to Guillermo and Jose the other day, and they didn't even know that league existed.
I did not know that league existed either.
Yeah, well, and obviously they've bought guys from the leagues above them, not Premier League talent, but they bought some of the better forwards. Ollie Palmer and obviously Paul Mullen.
Paul Mullen.
But I said from what I was reading, better soccer minds than you and I discussed about that, it was we would crush them.
Fuck yeah! Well, that's
right,
great.
And I'm all for that.
Yeah, my proposition is that Rob and Ryan have tried to establish that they have some sort of awesome friendship.
Yeah,
and if they come to Austin, they're going to have a friendship showdown with you and I.
Yeah.
So I've seen this little thing on social media they do where, all right, so you have two people and they're blindfolded, right? And in their hands they have a drink. Okay. And then you ask them a question, and if it's more likely to be, so for example, would it be more likely to be Ian or would it more likely to be Zach?
Okay, and you take a drink?
And then you both try to drink at the same time. You can't see the other person, and you try to choose. So we'll just blast some aviation gin in there.
I'm not doing gin.
Yeah,
I told you my gin story.
You're not going to do gin for Ryan Reynolds and Rob.
I've told you my gin story. I cannot drink it.
I don't give a shit about your gin story. I don't give a shit if that your great grandfather drowned in a basket of gin and died there. A basket that was entirely concealed, so a bucket. If Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are like, hey, we'll do a friendship game with you, you just have to drink gin, you're going to say no?
No, yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, so we challenge them to that formally now. We'll get that out there. They'll see it. We'll do the whole thing.
I mean, I'm in. Yeah, you convinced me. I just think like it would be more on brand for us to do it with Miller Lights, but
no, we can't. The whole thing, we'll have to fly with Expedia too.
We'll have to post the competition on TikTok.
I will have to make a TikTok. Look, I'll get on social media. I'll make a TikTok if that's our video.
I guess the last thing I would say before we get to our predictions is got an email today about the ATX FC house.
What?
And all it says is the world's greatest competition for the world's greatest game is coming this November. The ATX FC house is here to celebrate all things soccer, your home base for every match. The house is your chance to revel in every part of the beautiful game right here in Austin. Sign up today to hear the latest on the ATX FC house and be the first for events as they are announced. The ATX house, November 20th through December 18th. And I believe 114 Linden Street is Luster Pearl. I'm going to look that up. But it looks like, like kind of an Austin FC. Yeah, that's Luster Pearl, or right there on that corner. Like an Austin FC themed World Cup party every day.
Oh,
sounds pretty cool.
I mean, I feel like there's going to be plenty of awesome events to check out, but I'd be down to check out that one as well.
Yeah, and obviously it says, you need to sign up to hear the latest. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that because, like you said, I think there's multiple places that we're going to check out during that glorious month coming up. I know I literally just put in yesterday to have the afternoons off for the United States first two matches. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting coming through today. Still halftime in the Philly-Cincinnati game. Of course, El Tráfico, LAFC, and the Galaxy coming up later tonight. When everybody hears this, they'll already know. Yeah, gonna have that one on too. Fuck that Thursday night football game. It's fucking MLS playoff time, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so so if Philadelphia, it looks like they just got underway here in the second half. If Philadelphia, LAFC, Montreal, and Austin win this weekend, so all the home teams, Austin clinches CONCACAF Champions League. So, cool. I think it would. I don't know if it's easier to play the Galaxy or not right now. The Galaxy look, Ricky Pooch. That's all we got to say right now, right?
Game is all I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it for me. The skin in that game, I don't care. I just want to have another home game.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get to it. Moment of truth. I know you're not predicting a loss. We cannot predict a draw. So how much is Austin FC beating FC Dallas by this Sunday for the first time in 6 tries?
2-1.
2-1.
Big game from Stuver.
Okay, another.
That man is hot.
He is
hot right now.
He is. Regular time?
Regular time, 2-1 win.
Okay.
And he saves the day for us. Just some gargantuan saves.
Okay.
To bring us home.
Okay. I'm going to say 3-2 Austin. I think it's a high-scoring affair. I think we see goals early and often. I do think Stuver has a good game, but I think both teams put a lot of shots on net. A lot of these playoff games have been grinds. Not a lot of shots, not a lot of scoring. And I think that changes here in this rivalry match.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think 3-2. We'll have some ups and downs to be sure, but walking out of there with a win Sunday night. And again, talk about taking time off. Maybe we should have asked off Monday morning because it's a little different when the game starts at 7:18 rather than 2:18.
You know what? Book it. I'm requesting.
There you go.
Brian, if you're listening, we work together.
Yeah.
Don't expose me, Brian.
Well, all right. I think, this is going to be our first pod under an hour. So nice quick listen headed into your weekend, or maybe Saturday, Sunday, maybe before the match. Just wanted to get back together. We haven't been on a pod, haven't got to hang out, haven't been at Q2 for a few weeks, and wanted to preview the match because we ended the live stream before that Dallas Minnesota match ended, and I'm glad we did because it went to extra time and penalties. So
I watched it on Gamecast as well.
Yeah, and we had we had a lot to talk about with what's gone down in the last 2 days between these two clubs and their fans. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. If you've got 5 seconds, rate, review, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts or on the YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button on the pod. It helps us grow the channel. Well, here we are again. A do or die game coming up Sunday. Hopefully not a sad voice full of sorrow greeting you guys early next week on the pod. Hopefully just continuing our elation and joy. So for Ian, I'm Zach. Everybody enjoy the end of your week. Enjoy your Saturday, and we'll see you at Q2 on Sunday. Until then, vamos Austin FC. Goodbye.